Good morning, everyone. Whistled Molly. Isn't today a wonderful, beautiful day? It is, said Boko. And how is your day going? It's going great. Thanks for asking, Boko. What are you pulling today? I'm pulling some cocoa to take to the docks for shipment. Now I must be off. Have a good day, Molly. Goodbye, Boko, whistled Molly. I can't wait to start work, said Molly. It's probably going to be due to Marin Station, said Henry, since that is being rebuilt. You're most likely right, she said. Don't you have to get going soon? Actually, said Henry, I have to get going now. But have a good day, Molly, and take care. And Henry started off on his journey. Just as Henry left, Sir Topham Hatt stepped out. Hello, Sir Topham Hatt, said Molly. Hello, Molly, said Sir Topham Hatt. Today I need you to go to the docks to get some building equipment for Maithwaite. Do you think you can do that for me? He asked. Yes, sir, she said. I'll get on that right away, and she set off. Meanwhile, at the docks, Molly went to pick up her train, just as Bolster set off with some packages. Molly waited for the conductor's whistle, and when the conductor's whistle blew, she gave a long whistle and set off. Molly's trip was going very smoothly. There were no problems, and she was going right on time. She had just passed the Great Waterton and was coming to Marin Station. But Gordon's Hill became the problem. Meanwhile, at Wellsworth, Edward puffed up with the workmen. Said Edward. Molly should have been here by now. Is she running a little late today? Just then, Edward noticed him down over his eye. Molly came running down the hill, smacked into a cargo car, and pulled up right beside with her buffer beam damaged. Molly, said Edward, you need to go get that checked out. Taking that much damage isn't good for engines. It's all right, Edward, said Molly. We need to get this job done. Now come on, she said. Let's get to work. And Molly set off. All right, Molly, said Edward, and Edward followed behind. Meanwhile, at Knapford, Sir Topham Hatt was talking to Harvey and Duck about future plans for Marin Station, when a workman stepped out of the office to alert Sir Topham Hatt about Molly's crash. Sir, Molly had a crash at a scrapyard and sustained what appears to be minimal damage. Reg has cleaned up the mess, but we might want to bring Molly into the works. There may have been damage to something else that we do not see. Understood, said Sir Topham Hatt. We'll get around that. Harvey, you go pick up Rocky. I'll be right behind you. Yes, sir. See you in a few minutes. Meanwhile, Edward had just arrived with Molly at the construction area. Are you ready? Asked Edward, when the workmen stepped out to inspect all the building supplies. One of them walked over and came with some news. We seem to be missing the wood from the forest. The log car should be over there. Will one of you be willing to go and fetch it? Asked the workman. I will do that right now, said Molly, and she steamed off. Just as Molly puffed away, Sir Topham Hatt, Harvey, and Rocky appeared. Ah, Edward, do you know where Molly is? Yes, sir. She went to Henry's forest to go get the log cars for the construction. But, sir, she is not willing to go to the works. She's worried that if another engine with more serious damage gets damaged, there will be no room for them, and she thinks it's only cosmetic. You might want to talk to her about having a check over just to be safe. That's a good idea, said Sir Topham Hatt. Harvey, I want you to go find Molly and go tell her she's going to have to go to the works just for a checkup. No repairs, just a few minutes there, and then she's back on Sodor. Do you understand? Yes, sir, said Harvey, and Harvey steamed off. "Now," said Stratum Hat, "that new engine should be here any moment." "New engine?" asked Edward. When Molly arrived to pick up the log car, she was experiencing pain. She didn't know what it was, and just then, Harvey arrived to talk to her. "Molly," said Harvey, "you need to go to the works. You might have some serious damage or minor damage. We won't know until we get you to the works." "I'm all right, Harvey," said Molly. "I gotta take these logs to the build site. I'm sorry, but I must be off." "All right," said Harvey. "I guess I'll go back to work." And Harvey set off to get back to work. While Molly was on her way to the build site, she was experiencing some more pain. "Why can't I go fast?" When she passed her Topham Hat talking to a new engine. "That's a new engine," said Molly. "I wonder what his name is." When Molly arrived to the build site, her piston rod fell off. "Cinders and ashes," said Molly. "How did that happen?" The workmen saw it and ran over to check to see if there was any more serious damage. They checked over for a few minutes and they found more damage and some less damage. The workmen spent a few minutes making sure she was alright when they turned to her. "Molly," said one of the workmen, "you're going to the works right now. You have traction rod damage, piston cylinder damage, wheel damage, and some other damage that we can't determine. You need to go to the works immediately." "Why? I want to at least see I want to be here when Maithwaite's built. I want it's. I don't want to go to the works." "Molly," said Edward, "it's better to go to the works now. Maithwaite will be here when you get back. I think you've done so much work and you're always waitful to get repairs," said Edward. "It's your turn to get repairs." "All right, Edward," said Molly sadly. The workmen got back to work, and Molly waited for Harvey to pick her up. A few minutes later, Harvey arrived with Rocky, and they pulled Molly away to the works. When Molly returned, Maithwaite Station was built, and she was happy that it was built, but she was sad that she missed the construction of it. "See, Molly," said Edward, "it isn't that bad that you didn't see the build. At least it's built now." "You're right," Edward said Molly. "It may suck that I wasn't here to see it get built, but at least it's built now." "Wait a minute," said Molly. "Doesn't that smell like what I think it does?" "You're right, Molly," said Edward. "That is a fire."